executive board members, and advisory council members and their participants. It is my honor to moderate this high-level event announcing the launch of UNITLIFE in partnership with the Crown Prince Court of Abu Dhabi. My name is Philippe Douste-Blazy, and I am the chair of the UNITLIFE initiative. Before we start, I would like to inform you that this event will be recorded. It is my absolute pleasure to give the floor to Jean-Yves Le Drian, Minister of Europe and Foreign Affairs of the Republic of France, for the opening statement, followed by a keynote from Her Excellency Reem Bint Al-Hashimy, Minister of the State of International Cooperation, United Arab Emirates.
Madame la secrétaire d'État à la coopération internationale des Émirats arabes unis, Votre Excellence Madame Al-Hashimy, Madame la sous-secrétaire générale des Nations unies, chère Gerda Verburg, Monsieur le ministre, cher Philippe Douste-Blazy, Mesdames et Messieurs, l'insécurité alimentaire et la malnutrition demeurent l'un des grands défis de notre siècle. Si des progrès historiques ont été accomplis, nous savons malheureusement qu'ils restent insuffisants et qu'ils ne sont jamais acquis. 690 millions de personnes souffrent aujourd'hui de la faim dans le monde. Cela représente 60 millions de personnes de plus qu'il y a 5 ans. Dans certains pays du Sahel, près de la moitié des enfants pâtit d'un retard physique et cognitif provoqué par la sous-nutrition. Et la crise pandémique aura fragilisé les systèmes alimentaires les plus vulnérables, ce qui laisse craindre une augmentation des pénuries dont les femmes et les enfants subiront en premier les conséquences. La France, vous le savez, agit de manière déterminée pour faire reculer ce fléau, en concentrant une part importante de ses efforts en faveur des femmes enceintes ou allaitantes et pour les nourrissons lors de la période cruciale des 1000 jours entourant la naissance d'un enfant. Elle le fait aussi en soutenant, grâce à un dispositif d'aide alimentaire programmé en nette augmentation, le développement des systèmes permettant des régimes alimentaires sains, nutritifs, diversifiés et durables. Elle le fait encore en contribuant aux efforts menés par le Programme alimentaire mondial en faveur de l'alimentation scolaire. Mais les États ne peuvent réussir seuls. Nous avons besoin de modèles de financement innovants, associant le secteur privé et les particuliers au grand combat de la solidarité internationale, et le combat contre la malnutrition en est un. La France a d'ailleurs encouragé ce type d'innovation dès le début des années 2000 avec des initiatives comme le fonds UNITAID et la taxe de solidarité sur les billets d'avion dont vous avez été, Monsieur le ministre, cher Philippe, l'un des promoteurs et qui joue un rôle considérable pour financer nos actions de développement en faveur des biens publics mondiaux que sont l'éducation, la santé et le climat. C'est pourquoi je tenais à saluer aujourd'hui l'initiative UNITLIFE qui s'inscrit dans cette même dynamique d'élargissement de la solidarité et qui porte une stratégie aussi originale que prometteuse. Construire des partenariats novateurs pour mobiliser des ressources supplémentaires, par exemple en utilisant les outils numériques pour récolter des micro-donations auprès des particuliers en lien avec de grandes entreprises. Travailler à renforcer les systèmes productifs locaux des pays les plus vulnérables, particulièrement en Afrique, par des projets tournés vers l'autonomisation des femmes qui ont un rôle crucial à jouer, notamment dans l'agriculture durable. Alerter l'opinion sur la réalité de la malnutrition chronique et la gravité des conséquences sur la santé et l'éducation des plus jeunes afin de susciter une mobilisation plus massive. Autant de chantiers essentiels, en effet. Nous sommes donc très fiers de faire partie des membres permanents d'UNITLIFE, aux côtés notamment d'ONU Femmes, qui a contribué à la création de cette initiative avec l'appui du Fonds d'équipement des Nations Unies. Je tiens aussi à saluer le soutien sans faille des Émirats arabes unis, soutien tout à fait déterminant dans le développement de cette initiative. Nos deux pays s'étaient engagés en 2018 à renforcer leur partenariat dans le domaine des objectifs de développement durable. Voici une première déclinaison concrète de cet engagement commun. Je vous souhaite donc à toutes et à tous des échanges féconds et constructifs, en espérant qu'ils nous permettront d'avancer dans la lutte contre la malnutrition grâce à UNITLIFE.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I am very pleased to join you in this virtual gathering as we mark the occasion of the Generation Equality Forum. And thank you, Your Excellency Le Drian, for your partnership and invitation. Our event today is part of the French Emirati Season 2021, a partnership between the UAE and France to promote cultural dialogue and reinforce values of tolerance in celebration of the Golden Jubilee of the formation of the United Arab Emirates. Today, I'm honored to mark the UAE's commitment to UNITLIFE, a multi-partner initiative under the auspices of the UN to counter chronic malnutrition, an unfortunate condition that affects 149 million children globally. Through a contribution of $2.5 million to UNITLIFE, the UAE hopes to alleviate the suffering and address the global health issues caused by chronic malnutrition. Our support of UNITLIFE reflects the country's decades-long commitment to improving lives around the globe. His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi and Deputy Supreme Commander of the UAE Armed Forces, is committed to creating a healthier future, particularly within the world's most vulnerable communities. Our approach to global development is holistic, in that we understand that we can only uplift humanity if we first work to improve health systems and their quality. By eliminating disease, we can help millions of children and adults live healthy, sustainable, and dignified lives. Our programs focus on ensuring that preventable diseases remain a top priority on the political agenda, maintaining progress, raising funds, and working closely and collaboratively with global partners and taking part in multilateral initiatives to increase impact. This year, the UAE's commitment to ending neglected tropical diseases, NTDs, led to the World Health Organization officially recognizing an annual World NTD Day on January 30. As an important step in our mission to ending NTDs, our leadership aims to continue raising awareness of preventable diseases and those diseases not commonly discussed. Much like neglected tropical diseases, chronic malnutrition traps communities in cycles of poverty. The linkages between health and nutrition are undeniable. A nutrient-dense diet from the beginning of a child's life is one of the key building blocks towards living a healthy life. Consequences of the malnutrition are mostly irreversible, including stunted growth, impaired brain development, and weakened immune systems, leaving long-lasting impact for children, families, and communities as a whole. Women and girls are the most at risk for chronic malnutrition and face unique barriers to accessing healthy food. While women around the globe play a critical role in ensuring the nutritional needs of their families are met, often without the right resources or education, they are the most likely to eat last, and more so when food is scarce. The nutrition of pregnant women is of particular concern. Maternal malnutrition increases the risk of poor pregnancy outcomes, while the first 1,000 days of life, from pregnancy to a child's first birthday, has outsized effect on lifelong health. With so many affected, it is no longer acceptable to neglect the dire consequences of this disease. UNITLIFE's efforts to fight chronic malnutrition are steeped in innovation and sustainability, both of which are areas that are championed by the UAE's leadership. We share a commitment to improving nutritional health, strengthening agricultural systems, and empowering women globally. The UAE supports the advocacy and increased visibility around this underfunded and largely overlooked disease, as well as supporting fundraising efforts through partnerships and innovative mechanisms. This initiative is a testimony to the strength of the historic partnership and ties between the UAE and France, and is the beginning of continued and fruitful facilitation of mutual exchanges on urgent global issues of common interest between the institutions of both our nations. Thank you for your time and for joining us on this critical mission. Thank you also for discussing a critical issue of this magnitude, one that could only be addressed by the international community collectively.
First and foremost, I would like to thank Her Excellency Reem Ebrahim Al Hashimy, Minister of the State for International Cooperation, United Arab Emirates, and of course, my friend, the French Minister for Europe and Foreign Affairs of France, Mr. Le Drian. Thank you so much to have both the governments of France and the United Arab Emirates partner for the fight against chronic malnutrition. As you know, UNITLIFE is the only global multi-partners initiative dedicated to fighting chronic malnutrition. To date, 149 million children will not reach their full potential because of chronic malnutrition, a disease resulting from the lack of adequate nutrition during the first 1,000 days of life. This invisible disease doesn't have to be a tragedy because it is entirely preventable during the window of the first 1,000 days of life. However, to date, we need to make more efforts for advocacy, particularly, to shed light on this invisible disease and for more funding to prevent the disease. So UNITLIFE is about the power of innovative finance partnerships between the private sector, as said the French minister, UN agencies, governments, and civil society. So I am very pleased today to be moderating such a panel of esteemed speakers who are also key partners for UNITLIFE. Please let me introduce them. First, Mrs. Phumzile Mlambo Nguka is the UN Under-Secretary General of the United Nations, Executive Director of the UN Women. She brings a wealth of experience and expertise of this position, having devoted her career to issues of human rights, equality, social justice. She has worked in government with civil society and with the private sector, and was actively involved in the struggle to end apartheid in her home country of South Africa. UN Women is one of the lead UN organizations that created UNITLIFE. So Mrs. Mlambo, I cannot thank you enough for your vision. Mrs. Gerda Verburg serves as UN Assistant Secretary General and Coordinator of the Scaling Up Nutrition, the SUN movement, working with the 64 country governments that lead the SUN movement, united with the UN agencies, civil society, business, and donors in a common mission to defeat malnutrition in all its forms. She was appointed by the UN Secretary General based on her extensive experience in politics and international cooperation. Thank you so much, Gerda, for being with us. Thank you. Mrs. Talar Al-Hamahi is an Associate Director of the Office of Strategic Affairs of the CPC, the Crown Prince Court of Abu Dhabi. In this role, Tala leads and conducts rich public policy analysis in socio-economic issues pertaining to Abu Dhabi and the UAE in various fields, including education, health, citizen well-being, and governance. So Mrs. Al-Hamahi, I am thrilled to have you with us and for all the precious support of the CPC. I am looking forward for a continuous collaboration with the Crown Prince Court. Mrs. Preeti Sinya is the Executive Secretary of the UN Capital Development Fund. She brings 30 years of global experience spanning investment and development finance to UNCDF. She served as CEO and President of Financing for Development LLC, a specialist development finance firm in Geneva, focusing on resource mobilization, donor relations, innovative capital markets, partnerships, strategy and business development, and finally, impact, investment, and advisory advisory to finance the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So UNCDF contributed to the creation of UNITLIFE, and particularly thanks to Xavier Michon, and hosts now its secretariat. Thank you very much for being a strong advocate for UNITLIFE equity. And Mr. Ade Ayeyemi was appointed Chief Executive Officer of EcoBank Group in 2015. He has an experienced banker who, before joining EcoBank, had a long and successful career with Citigroup, where he was CEO of Citigroup's Sub-Saharan Africa division, based on Johannesburg. Through its foundation, EcoBank has been involved in the design of UNITLIFE and is now on our board. Hade, thank you so much for your leadership. So without further ado, allow me to ask the first question to our first panelist, Mrs. Gerda Verburg, coordinator of the Scaling Up Nutrition Movement and United Nations Assistant Secretary General. I have two questions for you. First, you are the coordinator of the SUN movement, which was created in 2011. You are therefore the best person to respond to my first question. Why is nutrition key to the realization of the SDGs? And how much more money do we need to mobilize to achieve the objective of reducing stunting by 40%? And second, also coming back to UNITLIFE, why is it important to have a focus on chronic malnutrition? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, Minister Philippe Douste-Blazy. It is a real honor and pleasure. And I would like to congratulate you and everyone involved with the launch of UNITLIFE. It is quite an undertaking, and it's quite a very good and smart thing to do these days, to start a fund that is focused on nutrition. And let me explain why. But first, I also would like to congratulate those who were with you to take this initiative. Of course, all people that have advised, but also the government of Mexico, the UN Women, who is co-organizer, and civil society. So you have already organized around the table many of the right players. Why is it so important to invest in nutrition? Because nutrition is the foundation. And I think His Excellency Minister Le Drian, but also Her Excellency Reem Al-Hashimy has focused on it. It is to give children the best start in life they can get, the best foundation, because a good nutrition is the foundation for the physical development, the cognitive development, the brain development, and the potential to escape poverty, conflict, and to be able to be productive and earn a decent income. And to do this, it is not rocket science. It is investing in girls, it is investing in mothers, in women as such. And for that reason, I would like to commend the organizers also for putting this equality issue front and center. Because indeed, very often women eat last. And when there is a crisis, like we just still have the impact of COVID-19, women are suffering even more. So though we are still fighting to decrease the number of stunted children and the number of wasted children, we have got a blowback from reaching results, because simply parents were not able to nourish their children well. So this is also a systemic issue. Nutrition is the foundation, And if you look at the Sustainable Development Goals, nutrition is not only within Sustainable Development 2, but it is impacting immediately 12 out of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And I dare to say that they are impacting all 17 development goals, because we will not be able to find smart and innovative solutions if we have big groups of young people, children, but also women that are not well nourished, that have not been able to reach their full potential. Let me take a step back and let me also address it from the emotional side. If, and most of us are fathers, mothers, grandfathers, grandmothers, what if you are observing a little kid, be it a son or a daughter or somebody else, who is leaning in the arms of his or her mother, not being able to smile, to look around, to be curious, because the child was not fed and nourished well. This should make all of us cry. So I think it's a first obligation. Let me come to your second point. Let me make one step back, because to do this is not rocket science, but it requires collaboration. Collaboration that is led by a government. Ending all forms of malnutrition and hunger is a matter of political will. So wherever we go, and in what a dire financial situation a government may be, it requires political leadership, just like your leadership and leadership of the government of France, Mexico, and other countries, to be determined to start to get this right. Because stunted children mean, on the longer term, a continued stunted economy. And it will not create peace and prosperity and socioeconomic development. At the contrary, the risk of creating risks and conflicts is even bigger. Now, can it be done? Yes, even the low-income countries are able to reach the goals that are set by the World Health Assembly for 2021. For instance, Burkina Faso, Tanzania, Indonesia, they are doing a great job in getting there because of the government is determined. And then we are able to bring the different sectors and stakeholders around the table. You need health, you need food, forestry, fisheries, social protection, women, education, water and sanitation, but also investment from the Minister of Finance. So it takes a lot of people to work together, but the impact can be huge. And as you say, around then the government's priorities and ownership, as Sun Movement, we organize the stakeholders, because civil society needs to align behind the government. First do, of course, the advocacy, but then work together, align. The UN needs to work as one behind the government nutrition. And the same count for private sector. Not always easy, because still we have a lot of naughty private sector companies, and the donors and investors. And maybe this is one of the strong pleas I want to make. Focus on children, invest in women, girls and young women, pregnant women, because malnourished women are very likely to give birth to malnourished children. So it becomes intergenerational. And then if there is an investment case, make sure that the investment case is aligned. Alignment behind the priorities of the government, so that you don't have all these kind of programs and projects that are standalone. Now, what investment is needed? There is an additional $1.2 billion required to fight maternal anemia. That is impossible to see, but it is there. It requires 7 billion extra per year to reduce stunting and to avoid and prevent wasting. So at least we need to invest 10 billion US dollars more a year. And then we need to find smart ways of working together. Let me give 2 examples. One is a Sun movement.
Very shortly, please.
Okay, very good.
Thank
very
you.
good. Fine. We're working with Gavi. Gavi is reaching out to countries to do the vaccination. And we said, why don't we partner in the front line to combine vaccination, immunization with food and nutrition services? These kind of smart collaboration is what we should emphasize much more. And ODA has to raise, really focus on nutrition. It's the best way to lay the foundation for the implementation of all sustainable development goals. Back to you.
No, thank you so much. It was very useful for us. Thank you so much for your work, your job, and for giving us this visibility of the importance of nutrition and putting nutrition as a marker of human development. So children nutrition, mostly, as you know, during the critical period of the first 1,000 days of life, depends mainly on their mothers, both during the pregnancy and the breastfeeding stage. So therefore, UNITLIFE puts women empowerment at the center of its approach. So I would like to direct the next question to the Executive Director of UN Women, Mrs. Mlambo. So why did UN Women decide to join the partnership, and what is the role of women in eradicating malnutrition? Please.
Thank you very much. And I'd like to greet everyone who is part of this panel, as well as greet our partner, UNCDF, and thank them for the partnership that we have with them, which created UNITLIFE. As you have heard from the last speaker, this is one of the most essential work that we can do on earth for making sure that we bring up healthy children, healthy societies, and healthy nations. UN Women works with women all over the world. The issue of food production, access to food, food preparation is something that women dominate in. If we do not have all the conditions for this to happen, women's lives are miserable. And our intervention in this is to support women to remove the strain that comes with the lack of these conditions. Of course, none of us want to see hungry children, especially now that we produce enough food to feed the children that are otherwise staying hungry. It requires us to be organized, to be connected, to be purposeful in order to make sure that the food reaches the children. Women are 43% of the agricultural labor force in developing countries. That's a significant number. In many cases, they don't own the land, they don't own the products, they may be producers of food, but they may still remain hungry because the food does not come to them. This is something that we also need to address. Women also in many developing countries, as surveys show, up to 90%, spend 90% of their time preparing food, feeding the children, ensuring that the home has got the necessary conditions for the family to be nourished properly. This therefore means that our responsibility is to make sure that the conditions that are needed for the nourishment of families and communities do exist in lives of women. UN Women, through UNITLIFE, is supporting women in the DRC to nutrify cassava so as to make sure that cassava, which is a low value plant, is enhanced, is accessible to women, and is made easily available to most women. And in the process, women also make money while providing this. I do want to thank the French government for this innovative way of financing, because through the innovative finance, we are able to generate resources that are much needed to support women to fight hunger and to ensure that children grow up to be healthy children and productive citizens in society. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Mlambo-Nguka. Your response shows how empowering women ensures that they invest in the future of their children, accelerating the eradication of chronic malnutrition. So thank you. So UNITLIFE's objective is to raise funds through innovative mechanisms, as you said a few minutes ago. So innovation and innovative finance are also at the core of UNCDF, which hosts the Secretariat of UNITLIFE. So I have some questions for Mrs. Piti Signa, Executive Secretary, UN Capital Development Fund. Tell us about the power of innovative finance and its potential to raise funds, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. Douste-Blazy. So happy to be here today with you and with everybody here on the panel. So good morning, good afternoon, bonjour, bonsoir, excellencies, delegates, colleagues. I'm very pleased to be here today at the official launch of UNITLIFE. And as you just mentioned, we have had the pleasure to host UNITLIFE as the Secretariat at UNCDF. Now, UNCDF is the UN's Capital Development Fund, and we have a unique capital mandate in which the governance of the UN gave us these instruments of grants, technical assistance, loans, and guarantees back in 1966, recognizing that the UN had a role to play in financing key issues. And today we bring that capacity and capability to the table with great partners like UN Women, with the Sun partnership here, and with donors and collaborators and countries such as France, UAE, Mexico. So we are delighted again to have had this opportunity. Let me take a moment to tell you a little bit about UNCDF before I move on to what UNITLIFE does so effectively. So in UNCDF, we have about 3 pillars that we focus on. The first is the inclusive digital economies. There we use the power of digital to help nourish lives. So this includes not only financial inclusion that gives mothers and families more access to payments, direct livelihoods, but also things like agri-tech, which help agriculture become more productive. So it's our pleasure to have that focus across the 46 LDCs that we largely serve. So we are pretty much in the frontier markets. We serve the last mile, and it's our honor to be in these markets and help address the households, the farmers, the women, the youth, the refugees in these markets. The second pillar is the local development finance. And here we work through fiscal decentralization from the center to the municipal governments. We look at municipal finance and ways to achieve the SDGs in kind of an infrastructure setting so that lives could be better, both in the urban areas, and then we also look at some of the other projects in the peri-urban areas. So our objectives are very clear in these 2 pillars, and we support it by catalytic investments through our 3rd pillar, which is called the LDC investment platform. This is where we do our loans and guarantees. And we also are very proud to host 2 blended funds. So we've created a fund called Build, which is for SMEs in LDCs, and one with Meridium as a partner for infrastructure, for municipal investment into also women and gender responsive infrastructure as well. So with both of these investment vehicles, we are able to address some of the financing needs. And women and the gender equality cuts across all of our work. We're very proud to be part of the Generation Equality Forum, which is going to be hosted now in Paris very shortly. And we support the economic justice and rights pillar, where we try to work on women's economic empowerment. Now, turning now to UNITLIFE, which I hold so dear to my heart, I would like to tell you some of the innovative financing that UNITLIFE has achieved. So UNITLIFE shares this focus on women's financial empowerment to tackle the fight against chronic malnutrition. And as we just saw with the earlier speakers, UNITLIFE puts women at the center of the action, as they are the ones growing the food, feeding the family, and cooking, and so on. So very important to look at nutrition. So to do so, UNITLIFE has a unique approach to its projects and has used many innovative financing mechanisms. We have supported UNITLIFE in the design of a fundraising application which allows UNITLIFE's individual donors to donate either to a specific project or to UNITLIFE Secretariat. They will then receive regular updates on the projects they've decided to support. Furthermore, we have accompanied UNITLIFE in the development of key partnerships with private sector actors in Africa, Europe, and Middle East, starting with the Pan-African banking institution, EcoBank. Through its foundation, EcoBank has launched a campaign targeting its 14,000 staff and 24 million customers to raise funds and awareness about chronic malnutrition. I'm very delighted that Mr. Ayayemi, CEO of EcoBank, is here on this panel, so I won't say more as we wait to hear from him. It's been a pleasure and delight. UNITLIFE also partners with the French fintech Only One, which has recently established an independent bank that is 100% digital, ethical, and has positive impact principles. Only One is now deploying microdonations to capitalize programs focused on confronting and eradicating chronic malnutrition. Every month, the digital bank donates 60 euro cents for every customer to finance UNITLIFE's investment. Bravo. UNITLIFE through UNCDF has also signed a partnership recently with Onomo Hotels and Kus Milk. Kus Milk is an African fintech which provides the African Onomo Hotels with financial and payment services. Through the partnership, Kus Milk collects micro donations from Onomo's clients. The donations are then allocated to UNITLIFE to fund new investments in Africa. I think that's wonderful work, great partnerships. Finally, let me add that we are very excited to start a partnership in the UAE with the Majid Al Futam, which we call MAF for short, and Dubai Cares in the UAE. MAF is the leading shopping mall communities, retail, leisure pioneer across the Middle East, Africa, and Asia. And Dubai Care is Dubai-based global philanthropic organization, part of His Excellency Mohammed bin Al Rashid Al Maktoum Global Initiatives. Together, these two major actors in the Middle East, we will raise a funding campaign within MAF's shopping malls, targeting its extensive network of clients in the region. So, Mr. Douste-Blazy, these are a few tangible examples of how innovative finance has the power to mobilize citizens everywhere to support one organization. I believe that microdonations have the potential to finance large-scale development initiatives, while empowering customers through their association to a noble cause, such as the reduction and elimination of chronic malnutrition. To conclude, let me reiterate that at UNCDF, we believe in the power of financial innovation to change lives, shape futures, and build a better tomorrow. So if you want to bring your tech creativity, leverage your innovative financing capabilities to reverse the scourge of hidden hunger, we are ready to work with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your kind words, and thank you for your leadership. So innovative finance is key to provide benefits and services to communities, but also to raise additional funds and engage new partners. So thank you so much. I believe that for UNITLIFE, it was very important, and you said that a few seconds ago, to have EcoBank, the Pan-African bank, on board. EcoBank is present in 33 countries. EcoBank has 15,000 staff, and EcoBank has 24 million clients. So, Mr. Ayayemi, you lead one of the major banks on the continent. So my question is very simple. EcoBank partnered with UNITLIFE to launch the first ever Pan-African campaign to raise awareness and funding for chronic malnutrition. And yet you are a bank. So tell us why you decided to take such an ambitious and out-of-the-box direction, and how EcoBank has to put its technology and expertise in digital payments as a service of the cause. And if I may, a second question also, what is the next step? How do we take this partnership even further, and how can you help us really more major actors like you?
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. And also thanks to all the excellencies that I can see on the screen here. And it's such a pleasure to be invited to be part of the conversation today. To us, as a bank in Africa, we cannot just be part of the complaint and talking about things that are not working. We have to put ourselves, our expertise, and everything we have at the disposal of society to solve one of the critical problems of our times. We cannot stand aside and ask others to focus on it, whereas we say we're a bank, we're at the corner of the society. We should be at the cornerstone of society. That's one of the fundamental reasons why we said, when we were called, we said we needed to answer. Secondly, as an African organization, it's been so long that we depend on other people to solve our problems without stepping up ourselves to even put the little that we can do. And we said, well, if it is micro donation, it's something that we can do. It may not be a lot, but at least it provides a pathway to the future when everybody will see that this is an important element that needs to get solved. Historically, there has been conversation about poverty, which Robert McNamara graciously said, there is a condition so degrading as to insult human dignity. We also keep saying in Africa that the demographic dividend, the demography of Africa, is the future of Africa. But we don't want this demography that is the future of Africa to be multiple kids that are malnourished and they become the burden to Africa and burden to the world. It's important for us to step up and let everybody know that this is an important cause that we need to participate in. So the question of why has to be, why not? And in us participating is also to demonstrate to the rest of our colleagues that no matter how small you participate, you just participate. Collectively, we'll be in a position to solve the problem. And when we said our customers, 24 million of them, now 30 million since the last time we signed, for the opportunity for them to be able to make contribution. It will not be large, but it will be sustainable into the future, and we will all be part of solving this problem. We've put our technology at the disposal of our clients to be able to do transactions, to be able to buy things for themselves as customers. But so many customers that come to us also want to do good, because ultimately, for the society in which we operate to be a better society, which all of us will be able to derive the benefits of the work we do, we need everybody to be pushing in the same direction. And we cannot all go in the same direction if the opportunity to participate is not created. So we've created that opportunity for our customers to participate. Working through EcoBank Foundation, we believe that this is one of the opportunities that we have, and we thank UNITLIFE for allowing us, because you could have chosen so many other people, but you allow us to participate, and we will then be able to crowd in other people. And that technology that we have that allows our customers to transact across all our 33 markets where we are present, that allows our diaspora, which is the 56th nation for Africa, to be able to do transactions and go back home, we put that at the disposal of UNITLIFE for the purpose of raising funds. And we've started, and we believe this is the direction that we need to continue to go. As a founding member of UNITLIFE board, we are well aligned with the commitment. We want to do this because when we were formed as an organization that should try everything we can to advance the cause of development in Africa, and there's no better cause than this. We believe that as a firm, we also need to continue to push this through various public service announcements, getting with our customers, encouraging our customers to support fundraising, and we are doing that because we know that every dollar that is invested by the customers gets multiple in return because it allows the kids to be fed and their mothers to be able to feed them. But more importantly as well, as we continue to get this money through and the food is being prepared and the food is being grown, has been done properly, it actually creates employment opportunities as well. Because if the food is being bought and somebody is producing the food, if somebody is producing the food, that person has a job. In other words, we do not need to create an army of migrants that is crossing the Sahara for better life when they have opportunity to be able to participate in economic activities in their countries. You asked me the question, what next? I think part of what next is the fact that EcoBank has dedicated part of our activity and capital into financing women-led organizations. Because, as has been said multiple times, when the women are well taken care of, then the society is a better society. After all, it is for a reason that the language that you know how to speak well is called your mother tongue, not your father tongue. It means that the basis of education at home is the mother. And that's why I speak my mother tongue, not my father tongue, because there's a dedication that the mothers have. We will continue as EcoBank to walk through our capital allocation to women-supported businesses. We'll continue to allocate capital to micro, small, and medium-scale enterprises, which we've committed about $500 million of our capital to. We will continue to walk through agriculture in our continent in a way that is not just producing food, but being able to also process it properly. Because in doing all of this and committing ourselves, dedicating our support to this, and also working through our various customers, and finally, we'll be able to crowd in our other competitors and friends, because there are so many other entities in Africa that can make this work properly. Finally, I need to thank all of you for paying attention to this and trying to shine a good light on an issue that collectively we all need to solve. Thank you very much.
Mr. Ayeyemi, you are terrific. Thank you so much. And EcoBank is leading the way. And we call all other companies to join the UNITLIFE partnership and contribute to shaping this initiative. So thank you so much one more time. So now the Crown Prince Court of Abu Dhabi, through its Reaching the Last Mile initiative, has been especially strong in believing in holistic approaches, as said Her Excellency at the beginning of the meeting, the power of partnerships and supporting neglected, underfunded, and invisible disease. It is critical for UNITLIFE to be able to count on the Crown Prince Court's experience, leadership, and support. So, Mrs. Al-Hamahi, I have two questions for you. Let me ask, what is the UAE vision for UNITLIFE? And what is the approach you are taking in shaping UNITLIFE as a key stakeholder at board level? And second, what do you see as critical for UNITLIFE's being able to support effectively projects dedicated to fighting chronic malnutrition? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, and thank you to our esteemed partners with us today, including various UN partners such as UN Women and the UNCDF for being here and working with us towards addressing chronic malnutrition globally. Chronic malnutrition, as many of you know, is an incredibly widespread and unfortunate reality, which limits the ability for individuals to reach their full potential. There are currently, as many of you have mentioned, over 149 million children affected worldwide. Chronic malnutrition causes stunted growth, weakened immune systems, and impairments in brain development, which unfortunately limits children's future and prosperity and contributes to a vicious cycle of poverty that can lead to many other diseases, such as NTDs, which we have tackled for many years through His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan's global health portfolio. We also know that children who are well nourished are over 30% more likely to escape poverty. And we also know that prevention is the best cure. Allowing children and families to grow without the impacts of this disease paves the way for healthy lives and healthy communities. Through the global health work that we manage on behalf of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, specifically on neglected tropical diseases, what we have learned was that spotlighting these often overlooked or neglected global health epidemics is key to catalyzing change and movement. Through Reaching the Last Mile, the UAE has been a committed donor to global health causes on disease elimination and eradication for many years. Whether this was through our partnership with the Gates Foundation and GPEI or guinea worm eradication efforts with the Carter Center. Through a lot of our work, what we realized was that we must address global health systems in a much holistic way, much more holistic way. We need to understand the intricacies and linkages between global health outcomes and issues such as climate change, and for this particular forum, chronic malnutrition. I bring up the example that Her Excellency Reem Al-Hashimy mentioned in her speech earlier on the recognition of World NTD Day. This was an effort that was spearheaded by the UAE along with various other partners and was officially recognized. The day was officially recognized by the WHO. We believe that these efforts will enable us to translate this into more funding, but also more importantly, increased interest and knowledge surrounding these neglected diseases. We hope to apply a similar approach to UNITLIFE, not only by spotlighting chronic malnutrition and educating the global community, but to bring in partners who can work with us to engage in thoughtful and actionable collaborations towards addressing chronic malnutrition. As Her Excellency mentioned as well, we truly believe in the power of partnerships and making sure that we leverage and are able to help fundraise for UNITLIFE to addressing chronic malnutrition in much more innovative ways. We will continue to work closely with the team at UNITLIFE to achieve maximum impact on this level, as well as prompting key partners within our network that can help us, all of us, to support in addressing chronic malnutrition globally. In terms of just moving on to your second question, Your Excellency, on how we think this could be achieved, I believe there are three important factors that we need to take into consideration. Obviously, when we are addressing global health issues, including chronic malnutrition, a holistic approach is needed to support projects pertaining to global health, because each aspect interplays with the next to create a larger and hopefully more effective result. So if we are addressing global health systems in a much more holistic manner, we believe we can come out with better and more sustainable and long-lasting outcomes. In terms of the first way that we believe we can effectively or successfully implement the mission of UNITLIFE, we believe, first of all, that we bring in the right partners we need to work in collaboration with partners on the ground. And this has always guided the mission of our work through Reaching the Last Mile portfolio. It is only through local partners that we can truly understand the local and community needs and be able to create community-based solutions that are innovative and that can create sustainable outcomes for the people that we are trying to support. I think as well, in terms of what we also think would create more success for UNITLIFE is obviously, as you mentioned, fundraising. Without the right funding, we will not be able to support the programs that we want to support through UNITLIFE. We need to make sure that we can actively program plan and activate through ensuring that we have funders and partners such as EcoBank that are truly passionate about the cause and believe in supporting this cause in a way that addresses the issue innovatively. And finally, I think, and more importantly, I think for this forum, it is imperative that we address the gender angle of this condition. Women are in a unique position to reduce malnutrition for many reasons. And as some of our panelists already said, women are unfortunately at a greater risk of malnutrition than men. And also more tragically, more women or more girls die of chronic malnutrition than boys. While women bear the brunt of this unfortunate condition, we also believe they have the keys to fix it, as long as we provide the enabling and equitable environment for them to do so. And so UNITLIFE's focus on women and children as the heart of the answer is a fundamental idea that can change the future for millions. This type of innovative thinking and solution-based problem solving is an exciting springboard for us in the UAE and for the future of this program. And we believe will create a life-changing way forward to address chronic malnutrition. And I'll close by saying that when we address gender parity, we also do this with the realization that women are major players in the global health space, whether this is through health systems that rely on a foundation of health workers who are often female, often poorly compensated and poorly supported. That is why we believe that gender parity is an integral and urgent part of the work that we do when reaching the last mile on global health efforts everywhere. So thank you again for having us, and we look forward to a successful partnership with everyone here and everyone who isn't here as well.
Thank you so much for your words, and thank you so much to the UAE for their support, and I hope that you are going to continue to support UNITLIFE. So thank you for all your remarks. I believe they show the importance of partnerships in addressing such a vital issue like the eradication of chronic malnutrition, and that is all what UNITLIFE is about. So now I would like to ask each of you for one last word, and Mrs. Verburg, coordinator of the Sun Movement, the United Nations Assistant Secretary General. Thank you for some words. Final.
Thank you very much. This is an amazing group of people and participants. I would like to congratulate each and everyone again. You know why investment in nutrition is so crucial to get society and communities' life right, and to provide children with the best foundation in life. To make this happen, collaboration and alignment at country level is crucial. And I would like to continue to have a follow-up of this conversation on how we can make this happen at the country level. So this is an open invite to all of us, and together with Minister Philippe Douste-Blazy, we hope to reach out to all of you to double the impact by our joining forces and making changes structural. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mrs. Verburg. Thank you so much. Now we are going to ask Mrs. Mlambo, Executive Director, UN Women. Thank you, Mrs. Mlambo, for some words also.
Thank you very much. My last word is to ask all of you not to give up on fighting for women, children, and everybody in the community actually who is struggling with access to food. It is our responsibility, all of us, to ensure that there is no hunger in the communities we live in. Women produce food in many communities, not for themselves, but for society. Let us invest in the food production by women for society and make sure that the production of food and the distribution of food by women is something that is easy in most communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Mlambo. And I would like to congratulate you also for the key leadership you have for this forum. Mrs. Signa, Executive Secretary of UNCDF, some words also, please.
Yes, for sure, Mr. Douste-Blazy. I have the strong belief that capital should serve humanity and not the other way around. So what we would like to do at the UN Capital Development Fund is aspire to be the financing structuring unit at the UN that can bring more instruments to fund the SDGs, in this case, SDG 2 as well. So we would look forward to partnership with you, with your excellent leadership, Mr. Douste-Blazy, and also the team here, my colleague Xavier, and also Asia Sidibé, to bring more instruments of innovative finance to fund development. We feel we need to change the path of capital. There's a lot of capital in the world, and it needs to ensure basic standard of living for all. So we want to make sure that nutrition is like the first pillar of basic standard of living. So we would be working with you to try to find more instruments, whether they are bonds, micro donations, other innovations, along with partners also in the UAE and elsewhere in Africa. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Signa. So Mrs. Al-Hamahi, Associate Director, Office of Strategic Affairs in the CPC of Abu Dhabi, please.
Thank you. I would just reiterate that the UAE has long been committed to achieving gender equality and advancing the role of women locally and globally. And through His Highness Sheikh Hamad bin Zayed and reaching the last mile's commitment to UNITLIFE, we now hope to accelerate gender parity to address urgent global health issues, putting women at the center of the solutions for chronic malnutrition and many other challenges that we are ready to address in the global health space through creating more equitable social and economic opportunities. The UAE continues to believe in the power of partnerships and the power of women to create a healthier, better, and more equitable future for everyone. So thank you for letting us be a part of this partnership, and we look forward to more success ahead.
Thank you. And now we are going to visit with Mr. Ayeyemi, CEO and Executive Director of Ecobank Group.
Thank you very much. I'd like to leave you with the African saying that has been said many times. If you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go with everybody. It's in all of us working together that we have the opportunity to bend the arc of history in the right direction, as has been said by so many people. We'll continue to focus on our campaign, make the connection that is open to our staff, customers, and public at large across all our countries. But it's in working together as a team, we have an opportunity to make a lot of difference. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for this launch. You know, today this launch event is a stepping stone towards more collaborations and greater achievements with all of you. So allow me also to thank the Secretariat, and particularly Asia Sidibe and her team, who is working around her. The context is important. We are on the eve of the Generation Equality Forum. We are 3 months from the UN Food System Summit, and we are 6 months from the Nutrition for Growth Summit. It is the right time to galvanize our efforts. In a year, the number of children affected by chronic malnutrition has increased by 5 million because of the COVID-19 pandemic in our economies globally. And because of the nature of chronic malnutrition, this number is very likely to rise again within the next couple of years. So, ladies and gentlemen, dear all, thank you sincerely for joining the UNITLIFE launch. We are calling on all of you to come and join us in the fight of chronic malnutrition. UNITLIFE will do its part. So thank you so much and goodbye. See you soon.